So Come True was released recently, yesterday. I don't remember, but whatever. It just came out, and I got to check it out last night. And this is a visually stunning film. I'll just say that outright up front. So if you're more into the aesthetics of films, because that's what this film kind of is to me. It's very much style over substance. It's going to be all long shots of really aesthetically pleasing, interesting things to look at with a great soundtrack and a very strong eeriness to the film throughout. The film does, however, seem to get a tad repetitious for my tastes. I just kept wanting there to be kind of a ramping up of what is being shown to us as opposed to kind of recycling what has been seen and adding just very little. And the tension just for me didn't build enough, and it wasn't interesting enough as it built to continue to keep me as engaged as I was, because the first half of this film was very intriguing, very engaging, and I was like, wow, what is this building to? If this can continue to keep building to something very climatic and strong, this is going to be easily in my top films of the year. And while I still did quite like this movie, I just felt that the film didn't build properly. I felt like it kind of stayed very neutral throughout, which is a good neutral. It just didn't build as much as I had personally hoped from the way it was building in the opening. But what this film is about, there's a young girl. She's 18 years old. That's what she says in the film. And she is homeless. She has a something going on at home. She doesn't want to be home, so she's sleeping in a park on a slide, and sometimes she's sleeping at her friend's house when her friend will let her. And she finds that there is this clinic where they're studying sleep, and so she of course goes to jump on that, take advantage of it, like, fuck yeah, I have a place to sleep, and all I have to do is sign away my rights to show my data that they collect by putting on these electrodes and whatever. And so she goes to sleep, and we find out that they are able to manifest what you're dreaming onto a screen and record that data and that imagery. And throughout this, her dreams start to intensify, and they get worse and worse. And there's a romantic thing going on in here, which is kind of awkward, but the whole film itself is kind of awkward because the main character girl is very awkward, and she's a very interesting, unique looking girl. Very interesting. She looks fucking like 15. She's playing 18, and in reality, she's 24. It's a very interesting. I looked her up. I was like, oh my god, she's really that old. And then in certain, I've seen her in other things, but I've seen her. She's a very pretty girl in certain places, like certain hairstyles, and even in this movie, there's areas where I feel like she's very pretty, and then in other places, she looks very homely and very unattractive and very bizarre looking. She's a very unique looking girl, but her performance in this is excellent. I think she does carry this film quite well. The film is very slow and ominous and heavily relies on atmosphere and aesthetics, as I said. It kind of reminds me of like a tamer, visually Refn type of film, where it's like just very visually driven. But yeah, there's also a lot of Romero nods throughout this film. Not only are they watching Night of the Living Dead at the movie theater, but they also go to Romero High. She has like a Romero Physical Ed t-shirt on, and then the doctor in this is wearing kind of classic George A. Romero glasses, like the big thick ones that he used to watch. So this person clearly has an affinity for Romero, and it shows very heavily within the film. But yeah, as far as the audience that would like this kind of stuff, as I said, if you're into films that are trying to go much more for that aesthetical, like, pleasing, as opposed to some deep, rich storyline with a lot of insane character development and dialogue, it's not really that kind of film. It almost reminded me of like The Cell with Jennifer Lopez at certain points a little bit. Not much, but there was just some things. It's just, we keep going here. I guess this is the problem. I feel like we just keep going into her dream, and I feel like we kind of keep seeing the same thing over and over again. And that to me was a little frustrating because I feel like this is where they could have had fun with it. They could have went, and really ramped it up. And the dreams should have kept intensifying and intensifying, and we should have felt that. Now, they do that, but it's just not at the level I think that they should have intensified to. But that's just my personal preference of it. And I do think this is going to be a film that some people outright love. They're just going to be, it almost kind of reminds me also in the pacing of like something like a Mandy, where it's all about the visuals. It's a slow build, and it just kind of, I don't know, but Mandy has a stronger conclusion at least. This one, and then also there is a very on the nose explanation of everything that's happened in the very last frame of the film. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like that was kind of cheap. I feel like this film maybe should have earned that explanation by being a little bit more, hiding clues throughout, leaving it a little bit more ambiguous, and letting people like myself kind of discuss things with other film fans after having watched this and come to this conclusion by finding the clues throughout outright, outside of outright telling us exactly what's happening. Like, that was a very bizarre choice for me. Now, maybe people won't have that exact same reaction, but when it ended and I was like, oh, okay, that was very on the nose, almost as if it was like pushed by people who were on the outside, not the filmmakers, that were like, you need to explain this film because this is very fucking confusing. I just think I like that kind of clever ambiguity of films where they just leave breadcrumbs, and then people like me or other people who are even smarter, much smarter, can go in there and they can be like, this is what's happening. This is what's going on with this person or this character or whatever. And we know that because of this, and this, right? And I just feel like this one is kind of handed to us, spoon-fed to us at the end. And to me, that's, I don't know, annoying. But still a cool film. Still a very cool film. And it's going to have its audience, for sure. Some people will love this movie, and I quite liked it. I just wanted a stronger build, and I wanted the nightmares to have more going on other than just repetition. It felt very repetitious in that way. But other than that, it's a cool film. I would recommend it to people who are into more aesthetically pleasing, style over substance kinds of films. I'm thinking of a bunch of films that it kind of reminds me of aesthetically, or just kind of in tone of, like Possessor, or just those kind of. It's odd. It's a little off kilter. The characters are odd and awkward, and the visuals are the main draw. So yeah, check it out. Let me know if you like it. Adios.